Hello and welcome to another installment of CobraPin's Fresh Fridays. This is where I show off new boards that I have available or coming up. So before I get into that, I just wanted to give an update on my branch boards. There was an error in the previous version, and I have a new version here where the labeling has been fixed. Previously, the in and out and the arrows, data arrows were flipped in the other version. So that has now been fixed. These will be available on my Pinside shop. So thank you to everyone who went ahead and purchased the incorrect ones, knowing that they had to plug it in the opposite of the direction that it had labeled. So these are fixed now. That's great. All right, so I have 3 new boards. I have a Neopixel strip connector board, an Opto TX board, and an Opto receive board. So let's get into the details of each one. I have my Opto TX boards. So this is intended as an alternate to the classic like Williams Opto boards. One of the main motivations for making this board is so that you didn't have to use an Opto board to drop the voltage down for the IR LED. So this one actually has a resistor on board, so you just power it with 5 volts and ground, and then you're good to go. This is also a surface mount LED, not a through-hole LED like that. So let me break this off and show some of the interesting things. So with this, you can power it from 5 volts, ground, there's your resistor, and the LED itself, which shines through to the other side through the board. So you can power it with the 5 volts. Also, this is flush on the front, and there's no electrical connection to this side. So what you can do is actually mount this directly to a ball lane guide or a subway or a ramp if you wanted to, so you don't need some extra fixturing. The good news is, if you do want extra fixturing, like the classic Williams style here, with the white and black ones, you could either buy these or you could 3D print an equivalent one of these to use, but you can use them in the same way. So this would screw on in the same way. And right now I'm using a black one for a TX, which normally you'd use a white one, but please bear with me. And then it just screws on there. So you can use that. You could 3D print your own, or just mount this directly to whatever it is that you're trying to sense. And then, of course, along with that, I've got my RX boards, which are basically the same form factor here. So this one only has the receiver on it. You don't need an extra resistor, and you just have this RX goes to your switch input, and then you have your ground there as well. So again, you can 3D print something to mount this, mount it directly to your lane guide or subway or whatever it is, ramp, or mount it to one of these classic Opto mounts here. So, all right, we have the Neopixel strip connector board. This is designed to interface between a connector and the Neopixel strips. So let's go ahead and break off some of these to show. So these are set up to use either like the 3-pin WS2812s or WS2811s or 2814s. So for example, I have WS2814 right here. This is a 24 volt version. With this one, you can peel back some of the adhesive, stick it right where it needs to go there on the board, and then solder these 3 pins. So alright, so I wanted to show soldering the LED strips to the Neopixel strip connector board. So I have here my WS2814 strip, 24 volt strip. So let's just solder that up. Got my iron here, and just want to create a solder blob, a bridge. So now you have your Neopixel connector board connected up to your strip, and then you can flip it over, and you can either cut that off or get that ready to stick to your pin stadium lights or back box or whatever you're going to use it for. So there's soldering up the 2814 or any of the 3-pin LED strips. Also wanted to show a WS2805. So this actually has 4 pins here. You only need 3 of them, and you should only connect 3 of them in this case. There's a bypass pin, but since you're only going into 3 pins for this connector anyway, the bypass pin isn't useful. So the way I have this set up, you only connect the 24 volts, or sorry, your voltage, in this case 24 volts, your ground, and then the main data pin, and you do not solder the bypass pin. So again, peeling off some of the backing, then we get our board here, and I'm going to stick it to the 4-pin section, on as straight as you can. And now remember, we're not going to use the bypass pin, so don't solder that pin. These 2 pins on this Neopixel connector board are actually shorted together, so using the bypass there could cause some instability in the command. So only connect the data pin, not the bypass pin, for these 4-pin devices. And I had to do that just so that I could use the same board for both the input and the output. All right, so let's get this first pin top. There's a non-zero chance I will just forget and still connect that bypass pin, even though I just said that. All right, first pin. Second pin, I'm skipping it. Don't connect the bypass pin. All right, and there it is. There is your connector board connected to the 2805 4-pin device. Again, we're only using 3 because I've got a 3-pin connector, and that bypass isn't absolutely required. So with one board type, you get to connect WS2805 strips, WS2814s, WS2812s, WS2811s, and get to connectorize the ends of these, so it makes it easier to connect things in your machine. So hopefully that helps people. This is something that I wanted for my own machine, so hopefully other people find this useful as well. Alright, and here are those LED strips again with the connectors soldered onto them. One thing that I did forget to mention is you do have the option of injecting more power into these pads right here. Just make sure that whatever pad you're soldering onto matches the net, corresponding net on the connector. So if you're soldering to this pin up top here, that is the 24 volt pin. If you're soldering to this pad right here, that is the ground pad. So if you want to inject more power into this chain, in addition to whatever's coming through the connector, then follow what the strip shows. You can kind of see I've got a note here for V and G, and then when you're actually looking at it the other direction, when it's connected to the other side, then it's flipped. So you have V and G there, but that's not how it's connected on this end, so it's not right side up relative to the strip. Hope that makes sense. Just make sure it's the same as the strip. All right, and the other thing to note with these things is there's no electrical connections on the bottom side of the board, so you could mount this directly to metal. Sometimes these LED strips get a little bit warm, especially when you're doing GI, which is for the most part on all the time. So you could mount these to, like in the case of a pin stadium style lighting, you could mount them to black plastic angle. I've seen instructions for that before. Or you could mount it directly to aluminum. You could get black anodized aluminum, or you can paint the aluminum. But in any case, the aluminum may help you dissipate some of that heat and get it away from your devices. And this board supports that by not having any electrical connections on the back side. You can use some double-sided tape to connect it to your channel, and then you can create some nice side cabinet lighting there and have it all connectorized. And there you have it. Here's 3 new boards from CobraPin that will be available on the CobraPin Pinside shop. Again, I've got the RX, the TX Opto boards, as well as the Neopixel strip connector boards to make connecting those up. And again, you can use these potentially for like pin stadium type lighting on the side of your machine, for back box lighting, wherever you need a strip. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go ahead and leave comments below if there's a product that you've been wanting or looking for. And also let me know if you've used any of my products and you like them. So I do appreciate that, and seeing how you use them in your machine. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.